Dear students, as we are reading the play Sunny Morning, yesterday we read till this point. It means, and Gonzalo, and later in the afternoon, the gallant horseman would return by the same path and catch the bouquet of flowers. She would toss him. And am I right? Laura, yes, they wanted to marry her to a merchant whom she wouldn't have. And one night, when my cousin waited under her window to hear her sing, this other person presented himself unexpectedly. It means they are discussing about the gallant horseman and that beautiful lady, and another one character introduced there to a merchant. They means her parents wanted to marry her to a merchant, but she wouldn't have. She didn't like him. Then further, then they continued the discussion in this way. Laura, and insulted your cousin. He came and insulted your cousin there. Insulted your cousin. And when that merchant and cousin, these two, merchant and cousin, there started a quarrel between these two because of that Laura Lorente, and that quarrel paved way for duel. Duel means, yesterday we came to know about the meaning of this word. That is the fight between two with a weapon. It is a conclusive fight for something. And then what happened because of that fight? Yes, Gonzalo says, yes, there started a fight. Quite well. At sunrise, what happened? At sunrise on the beach, the merchant was badly wounded. That merchant was badly wounded. And my cousin had to conceal. Conceal means to hide himself. To conceal, to hide. Hid himself for a few days and later to fly. Because of that incident took place. And there was a threat to his life. That is why it is said he had to conceal. Its opposite word is reveal. Laura, you seem to know the story well. Laura says, Laura, Gonzalo, I think you know the story very well. Gonzalo, not only I, you too. And you so do means not only I, you too. And you to know very clearly and very well. Laura, I have explained that a friend repeated it to me. I have explained to you as my friend repeated, as her friend. She says that friend, her friend. As her friend told, so she said, Gonzalo, as my cousin did to me. No, I too don't know all these things. As my cousin explained, I have explained to you. Aside, this is Laura. Aside, this is Laura. He came to know about that this is Laura. Aside. Why tell him? He doesn't suspect. Laura, here, Gonzalo, he was confirmed there. The lady who is seated on that bench at the extreme end, none other than Laura. And Laura, aside, why tell him? He doesn't suspect. Why to tell? He doesn't suspect. Gonzalo, she is entirely innocent. Then she is entirely innocent. She doesn't know anything. And further, and her, it is said that, hey, Donna Laura, and was it you by any chance who advised your cousin to forget Laura? Who told, who advised your cousin to forget Laura? Why did your cousin forget Laura? Gonzalo, why? My cousin never forgot her. My cousin never forgot her. He never forgot. Who told? Then Laura, how do you account then for his conduct? How do you prove that he didn't forget Laura? Gonzalo, I will tell you one thing. The young man took refuge in my house. Refuge in the sense shelter in my house fearful of the consequences, aftermath effects of that fight, consequences of a duel with a person highly regarded in that locality. From my home, he went to Seville and then came to Madrid. He wrote Laura many letters, some of them in verse, but undoubtedly they were intercepted by her parents, for she never answered at all. Gonzalo, then in despair, believing his love lost to him forever, joined the army, went to Africa, and there in a trench met a glorious death, grasping the flag of Spain and whispering the name of his beloved Laura. See, how do you account, how do you prove, how do you justify her that your cousin never forgot her? I will tell you, he says, I'll explain you. The young man took refuge. That young man, my cousin, took shelter in my home. Because of the aftermath effect, consequences means aftermath effect of the particular incident, that is a fight with a person who is highly regarded, popular person in the society, locality. And because of that, from my home he went to Seville, places in Spain, then to Madrid. Then he wrote Laura many letters. From there he wrote Laura many letters, but some of them in verse, some of in the form of poems. But undoubtedly they were intercepted. Intercepted means stopped. They were stopped by her parents. They didn't allow to reach those letters to whom? To this Laura. So undoubtedly they were intercepted by her parents, for she never answered at all. That is why she didn't get any of the letters. Hence there was no question of answering at all by her parents, for she never answered at all. Gonzalo then in despair. In despair means he lost her faith or his hope, in despair, in prostrated sense, believing his love lost to him forever. His love lost to him forever. He couldn't get once again back. Hence he joined the army. Went to Africa in a war, and then in a trench. Trench means a type of war. A trench, a war. He met a glorious death, fighting against enemies. Here he met a glorious death. How? Grasping the flag of Spain. Here, grasping the flag, holding the flag of Spain, and whispering the name of his beloved Laura. See, here he says that that fellow is seated very close or beside that lady, but he explains about himself that that fellow has passed away. So, met a glorious death, grasping of the flag of Spain, holding the flag of Spain, and recalling the name of his beloved Laura. Then her Laura turned away, aside, and shocked her, startled by hearing the words of this Gonzalo. Laura aside, what an atrocious lie. What an atrocious, extremely bad, extreme to its highest, extremely here. What an atrocious lie. The fellow is seated very close to her and he speaks about her death only, his death only. He is explaining how he died. So how come this is possible? Don Gonzalo, he turned away and told himself, I couldn't have killed myself more gloriously. Here, I couldn't have killed her more gloriously myself. It means, says, I couldn't have killed myself. Now, he killed his cousin. But actually there is no cousin. He is speaking about his own death. Here, it means his cousin. It's a lie, a cock and bull story. But he says, I couldn't have killed myself so gloriously, but I can explain the death of my cousin. So, Laura, you must have been prostrated by the calamity, exhausted. Exhausted by the calamity means that disturbance took place immediately or weakened. Gonzalo, yes, really, madam, as if he were my brother. Actually, he was not his close brother. Her, as if he were my brother. Yesterday I said, impossible things are made possible by using this form, he were. As if he were my brother, he was his cousin. I presume through, on the contrary, that, so this thing had happened with my cousin. Unfortunate, poor, my cousin lost his life. How? Fighting against enemies, holding the flag and whispering the name of his beloved, and he died. Her recalling the name of his beloved. But contrary, then what happened? Laura, in short time, she forgot everything and chasing butterflies in garden. She was after butterflies, enjoying in garden, after her butterflies, indifferent to regret. So, indifferent to regret. She hadn't had any sense of those things, incidents had happened in the life of her lover. She was enjoying her life even after the death of my cousin. He complained, no, sir, no, sir, no, you are wrong. No. She was not chasing butterflies in the garden. Then she explains death of her friend. Once again, it is cock and bull story here. Don Gonzalo, it is a woman's way. It's a woman's way. Women do in this way only. Women follow this way only. It's a woman's way. Casual, they take it, everything. Then, even if it were woman's way, once again, impossible things are made possible. It means it is not the woman's way, but it is made possible, as even if it were woman's way, the silver maiden was not of that disposition, not of that conduct or character. My friend awaited news for days, months, year. Her friend waited for days, months, a year that she could get letter from her beloved. Waited and waited and waited eagerly. And no letter came. One afternoon, just at sunset, as the first stars were appearing, she was seen to leave the house. She left the house and with quickening steps walked very fast. Quickening steps means walked very fast, her way toward the beach. The beach where her beloved had risked his life. Where her beloved, it means his cousin, according to him and according to her, risked his life. She went there. So what happened here? No, the silver maiden was of not disposition. Not that disposition means character, conduct or attitude. Was not of that character, not of that conduct. My friend waited for days, months, a year, no letter came. What happened one afternoon, just at sunset, when the stars were appearing, she left the house, moved very fast and reached beach where her beloved risked his life. There, she wrote his name on the sand. She wrote his name, her beloved name, on the sand, and then sat down upon a rock wrote his name on the sand, sat down upon a rock, her gaze fixed upon the horizon. Her gaze was fixed upon the horizon. She was looking. She was not aware of anything, what was going on around her. So, the waves murmured, waves sang their eternal threnody, their lamentation, the song of death, or better call a grieving, eternal threnody, lamentation, the song of lamentation we call, and slowly crept up the rock and that boom came, wave came with a great or big boom, and see here, slowly crept up the rock where that lady seated. The tide rose with a boom, with a sound. The tide rose with a boom, her, and swept her to a sea. Here, took her into her womb. The wave, the big wave came, and her crept up, moved on her, where that lady seated, and with a big boom, swept, took her in her womb. It means she became the part of the sea. This is the way of the death of that Laura, or according to Donna Laura, how Laura Laurente passed away. It means she wrote his name on the sand and then sat down upon a rock, her gaze fixed upon the horizon. Then the waves murmured eternal song sang the song of death or sorrow, and wave came or crept up to where the rock where that maiden sat, that lady was seated. The tide rose, big wave rose with a boom and swept her out to sea, took her, that beautiful maiden, that lady, into her womb and went away. So, Gonzalo, good heavens, oh my God. So, good heavens. See here. Next. The fishermen of that shore, who often tell the story, affirm that it was a long time before the waves washed away the name written on the sand here. Donna Laura further explains the fishermen here, those who move over there of the shore, who often tell the story, affirm that, they confirm that her waves washed away that name which was written on the sand. Who wrote? That lady had written the name which was written by that beautiful lady. So it was washed away by the waves. Then he turned away and told, "You will not get ahead of me in decorating my own funeral. You can't decorate your own funeral as I decorate." As he explained, while fighting against enemies in a war, his cousin passed away holding the flag of his country and murmuring his beloved name. Then Gonzalo aside, "She lies worse than I do." It means she tells lie. She lies worse than I do. First of all, I am telling a lie, and she is too smart in telling her atrocious lies. Laura, poor Laura. Gonzalo, poor Gonzalo. Laura aside, "I will not tell him that I married 2 years later." So what had happened after that incident? Donna Laura aside, "I will not tell him that I am married 2 years later after this incident. I will not tell him that I married 2 years later. After 2 years, she got married." Gonzalo aside, "In 3 months, here it is 2 years, but what happened over here? In 3 months, I ran off to Paris with a ballet dancer." This Gonzalo, in 3 months after this incident, he ran off to Paris. How? With a ballet dancer. The ballet dancer. Laura, fate is curious. Here are you and I, complete strangers. See here. Fate is very curious. We don't know, we can't define, we cannot explain. Here are you and I, we are here, complete strangers. We don't know mutually who we are. But actually, now they know who they are. Met by chance, on the sunny morning, they have met, discussing the romance of old friends. Discussing the romance of old friends of long ago, exclamatory mark is there, but they are discussing the romance of their own. We have been conversing as if we were old friends. As if we were old friends. No, they are not only old friends, they are old lovers. Okay, seated on the bench in that sunny morning in a retired corner, speaking about their own memories. Further, yes, it is curious. Yes, it is curious, considering ill-natured prelude to our conversation. Says, yes, it is very curious. We cannot explain. It is very curious. It is very curious. And considering the ill-natured, how prelude means the beginning or the starting of this discussion between Laura and Gonzalo. It was a bit heated discussion between this Laura and Gonzalo. Laura, you scared away the birds. Gonzalo, I was unreasonable. Of course, I was unreasonable because I couldn't get a bench or seat to myself. For that reason, I was unreasonable. Laura, yes, that was evident. Yes, that was evident. Once again, sweetly, she asks a question. Are you coming again tomorrow? Are you coming again tomorrow? Most certainly. He says, if it is a sunny morning, most certainly, sure, I will come. But I not only will scare away the birds, I won't scare away the birds, but I will bring few crumbs. See the friendship, the relation, they have given importance to the earlier relationship. Laura, thank you very much. Birds are grateful and repay attention. I wonder where my maid is, Petra. So, thank you, she says. Thanks to whom? Thanks to that Gonzalo. And birds are grateful and repay attention. I wonder. Now she calls her maid Petra, who had gone to meet the guard. She calls Petra, signals for her maid. And the further part, the conclusion part of this play will be discussed in our next class. Bye. Have a good day. Thank you.